and could air during the Super Bowl.
I was sitting on the couch, I was eating some Doritos, I just had one in my hand, I was looking at it. Well, what if my hand got bigger? And then I was like, okay, well, what would happen if I ate it? Okay, the head would get bigger. And then, I kind of went down the rabbit hole.
I wonder if it would work there.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday morning 6 till 9 on WGBW and WISS and the Civic Media app. Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. It's Tuesday Tangents with our friend Luke Mathers. Find out what's grinding his gears and more. Join us.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy who considers a silver medal a participation award, Pete Schwaba.
It is. Totally is. Only winners here. That's all we will recognize. Hey, welcome to Night Light. I am Pete Schwaba, your host of Night Light. Wherever you're joining me from, thank you for being here, folks. It's much warmer out tonight, so hopefully you had a chance to get out today and take a walk, but hopefully you're huddled around the radio right now because we have a lot to get to. We have a big show tonight. So much to discuss from the weekend. Two great guests. Pretty good question. As always, Conrad Krieger, producer of Nightlight. Hey, buddy, how are you?
You know, it's National Bubble Wrap Day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you hit some bubble wrap today? That's all I was doing today.
I wear bubble wrap on a daily basis just in case I take a spill and I don't want to break something. So you're preaching to the choir. It's also National Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is interesting because we have a movie that's nominated for Best Picture, A Real Pain, with Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg, that I just saw yesterday. And it was really good. I was kind of like, when I saw this little comedy had been nominated, I was like, oh, really? I was happy they nominated and recognized the comedy, but there's also some very dramatic elements to it, too. And Kieran Culkin has some nice moments, as does Jesse Eisenberg. To be honest, I thought if you were going to nominate someone from this movie, you could have nominated either one of them. Although I guess Kieran Culkin has a little bit more of the dramatic heavy lifting to do, so to speak. I also find that interesting to point out today because we have a multi-gazillionaire who did a Hitler salute last week. So to all my Jewish friends, happy or sad National Holocaust Remembrance Day. Such a crazy day. It's also national, on a lesser note, National Chocolate Cake Day.
Yep.
Okay. And Thomas Crapper Day.
Yep.
So he's the guy. Did you put that on there because he's the guy that invented the toilet? And that's why they call it the crapper?
Yeah.
So basically, excrement took on his last name over the course of time. This guy created a legendary device, the turlet.
Yep.
And we rewarded him
with the name
by naming said turds after this guy's last name. That's a terrible name to have stick, and I don't know. Did you do any research on this? Is this really, I think this is really what happened. I remember looking this up.
So I was looking just on the Days of the Year website, and it says that innovators' legacy transformed the way we handle necessities, leaving an enduring mark on sanitation.
Which is weird because this did not, it's a crazy invention. And people say, holy crap, I got to take a crap. And they're talking about this poor guy's last name who gave us the toilet. That wasn't the case for Phil Orgasm. That didn't stick. But for whatever reason, Tom Crapper, this is your day. Rejoice. We'll all have one in your honor. That reminded me of the Jackie Flynn joke. Jackie was here Friday and he's did the joke about the guy who set up his sundries in the bathroom. And you're supposed to tip that guy. It's like, oh, it's the best crap I ever had. Here's $10. Yeah, a lot of big days, though. But obviously, National Holocaust Remembrance Day, a very, very powerful one, and a good day to recognize in this time in our country's history. And a great movie. If you want to see a real pain, check it out. I thought it was really good. And it's free on, I think I saw it on Hulu. I can't remember, though. I watched a lot of movies today, or this weekend. I watched A Real Pain. I saw A Complete Unknown, which I really liked. Really good movie. And my parents, who are in their 80s, who are not necessarily Bob Dylan fans, both liked it just because it was a really good movie, regardless of how you feel about Bob Dylan or his music. Not that he's really a controversial figure, but even if you don't really listen to his music, I think you'd think it was a good movie. I also saw Den of Thieves 2.
Pantera.
And I liked it. It was good. It was a good heist movie.
How was Ice Cube Jr. in it?
That is who that is, right?
Yep.
I'll say this. Between pre-Pantera and Pantera, he was not missing any meals.
Oh,
I bet he's 100 pounds heavier than he was in the first. Not to body shame. The guy's a good actor.
yeah. No, I think he does a great job.
Yeah. He's a good villain, and he's a likable villain. He's got a charm to him. And I forgot that he was Ice Cube's kid because they look like they could be brothers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good heist movie. I think either Rob Thomas or Matt Miller last week called it a heist movie. And that's exactly what it is. And that's what you get. And there's a few variables in there that I thought were kind of cool. A couple good chase scenes. I was the only one in the theater when I went to see that.
Is that a great feeling for you? Or are you like, I wish there were some people here? How do you like that?
Well, I like it, but I kind of, when I'm the only one in the theater, I pull my phone out.
Yeah.
I'm checking my email like I'm in my living room, and I don't like that. I like, it's such a draw. I'd rather just leave it at home or not look at it at all, which I don't do in a theater of crowded people because that's just rude. But, so 3 good movies. I liked them all. And then we had, what do we have? Playoff football. All right. This conspiracy stuff in America, everything is a conspiracy now. I think it's a good story that the Chiefs are going for a three-peat. I hope they don't get it, I guess, although I'm not crazy about Philadelphia either. Really, these two teams, the only team I really would have rooted for if they had gotten in were the Baltimore Ravens. I like John Harbaugh, like Lamar Jackson, like their team. They play defense, but I was kind of rooting for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I definitely was. At the end, I feel bad for Josh Allen at the end of it.
Yeah.
But
I don't feel bad for him. What was he doing on that sneak where he has to take a step back, then go over, and then go? You're 6'7", 250? Go straight ahead. You're bigger than Jalen Hurts. That was just stupid. And they said on the broadcast that they knew that that's what they were going to do. The Bills beat themselves. I know that people don't like the Chiefs. I'm not crazy about them either. I can't listen to Patrick Mahomes anymore either. But, they earned it. They don't make stupid mistakes like that. So you can blame the refs if you want. But I don't know. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think naturally there's a bias, like Michael Jordan had it, Aaron Rodgers had it. I think greatness is rewarded with the occasional friendly call just because refs are influenced too, even subconsciously. So maybe Mahomes is getting that. But I don't know. You think there might be something there. You thought he got that first down.
I did think he got the first down. But what do I know? I'm just a fan.
Well, same. I was just basing it on the replay I saw where I couldn't see where the ball, I couldn't see anything. I didn't think it was overturnable.
Gene said something, both announcers said something. And it was just at the point where I believe what they said too.
Yeah.
And then it's just, oh, no, it was Chiefs ball. I'm like, huh? But it happens every single year. No matter who is in the playoffs, there's a conspiracy. When Tom Brady was in it, every year they're like, oh, they're just doing it for Tom Brady. He gets all the calls too. So I mean, it's every year you're gonna get it,
And at what point? This would be Mahomes' 4th Super Bowl if he wins.
Yeah.
4 rings in 7 or 8 years. When does he start getting mentioned as the GOAT? Because Montana was 4-0. I know everybody, just says Brady's the GOAT. He's like 7-4 in Super Bowls. He could have just as easily been 5-6. Because there were they got kind of lucky too. But whatever, he's great. No question about it. He got there that many times. That's incredible. But Montana's 4-0. He's like Jordan. When you got to the big game, no one ever beat him. Nobody ever even took Jordan to a game 7 in the finals. Montana's 4-0. If Mahomes gets to 4-0, you got to start having that conversation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Also, I feel like Tom Brady had a stacked team around him more than
And a great coach.
Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, definitely one of the best coaches, but so was Andy Reid, you know?
Andy Reid is phenomenal. I don't know that Patrick Mahomes has that much hardware without Andy Reid. He is a genius play caller. He makes his quarterback's life easy. Easier, I should say. Hey, speaking of the Chiefs and the NFL, that leads us to our question of the night.
Talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question.
Questions.
Do you really think there is a conspiracy to get the Chiefs to the Super Bowl? If so, why? But tell me, first of all, if you think the NFL plays this game and fixes things and rigs things. Do you think the refs are in on it? I don't. I think they're human and make mistakes, certainly. But Buffalo had a lot of chances to win that game last night. They were up by a point, could have gone up by 8, and they blew it. They didn't get it done. And Steve Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator, too. He knows when to call what play. But that's our question, folks. Let us know what you think. Do you really think there is a conspiracy to get the Chiefs? Does the NFL show favoritism to the Chiefs? 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Let us know on the text. You can let us know on the stream. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or WGBW or X or T, wherever you're listening, you can get a hold of us. We'd love to hear from you and read your text on the radio. In addition to all that, we have great guests tonight. My pal Chip Chinnery is on the show at 6:35. He is the founder of Chip's Money Tips. He's an author. He wrote a book called Charging Mount Stand-Up, My First Year in Stand-Up Comedy. He's also an actor and a successful comedian. So Chip will have some money tips, ways you can save money, and he'll make it entertaining. He's here at 6:35. Then my buddy Nathan Deming is here in the studio at 7:20. We're going to talk about his film February and the tour he is on throughout our state, promoting the film, which is going to play in many different areas, including my hometown of Marinette. I'm very excited to introduce that in Marinette in about 3 weeks. That'll be fun, February 22nd, if you're in the area. And the film is also screening at the Door County Film Festival in mid-February. So Nathan's a busy guy, very talented filmmaker. He'll be here in the studio at 7:20, and we'll be talking about the question of the night. And, you know, I'm not trying to get anyone too excited, but Toddlers and Tiaras dropped in 2009. One of the sickest, weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Really weird. Let me know what movies you've seen, too, folks. Feel free to text. What have you seen? 10 movies nominated. I'm trying to play catch-up. I've seen 5 of them. I've got 5 to go. Love to hear what you're watching, too. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite. When we come back, we'll hear one of our guests, Chip, on the show Friends. And we'll have a clip from our guest at 7:20, Nathan Deming's movie. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm waiting for you. Someone's living for love. Someone's living for love. And I love her. And I love her.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Albaugh Show.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. The Equal Protection Clause embedded in the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment is now being used to dismantle the 1965 Voting Rights Act, opening the door to even more voter suppression. Why is its history important? The 14th Amendment passed in 1868 and granted citizenship to formerly enslaved African Americans. The Equal Protection Clause reads, "No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." Scholars agree that it was intended to stop states from discriminating against black Americans. Yet, as the National Constitution Center points out, it was also used to justify the U.S. Supreme Court's Plessy versus Ferguson, allowing discriminatory separate but equal schools, transportation, and accommodations in 1896. Another interpretation overturned that decision in Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. In 2023, it was used to eliminate race-based affirmative action for college admissions. U.S. Supreme Court conservatives, notably Justices Alito and Thomas, argue any consideration of race is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause. How might their interpretation impact voting rights? More on that in our next report.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Way to phrase this, Conrad. I feel like I'm not nailing it. You really think there's a conspiracy to get the Chiefs to the Super Bowl? A lot of people complaining on social media about that call. I don't think there is. I know you disagreed with the call, but do you think there's a conspiracy? A lot of money to be made, potentially.
I think it would be. This is the only reason I think it would be is if Taylor Swift was performing the halftime show.
Wow.
Then I would be like, yeah, maybe.
I kind of feel like she's already been part of, 2 Super Bowls? Even the NFL, if that's the way you were thinking, you'd have to think, new blood is always good. And I think there'd be drama behind Josh Allen. So I don't know that they gain a ton. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to bring the ratings. If anything, I think people are like, oh, okay, I've seen Taylor Swift. I've seen Travis Kelce. I don't know. But let us know your opinion. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. I turn over a new leaf. I am back. I am eating right now. As of today, my New Year's resolution is just kicking in. I'm starting it today. I'm a little late, but I got to make it. I was in a bad spiral. I was drinking that Blue Moon beer every night.
Oh, yeah.
That's alcohol-free, but still. I was addicted to non-alcoholic beer. That's so pathetic. So I kicked that. And I'm not a big fast food guy, but I would say over the last 4 months, I've had fast food once a week. I don't even like to eat it that much. And I'm counting calories again. So what I'm telling you, Conrad, is I might be pretty crabby over the next couple days. He's like, yeah, okay, so normal. So there you go. So we've got 2 great guests tonight, folks. Chip Chinnery will be here at 6:35. Chip wrote a book called Charging Mount Stand-Up, My First Year in Comedy. And it's a great book. It's a great read. Chip is one of those guys, he's taken pictures of everyone he's worked with. And he has a story behind every gig he's done. I mean, his ability to catalog his career is incredible. The book is fun. We're having him on tonight to talk about his website and his side hustle, Chip's Money Tips. Chip is one of the most frugal, money sound guys I've ever met. And he has all these great tips for saving a few bucks, possible write-offs you can do on your taxes, that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that with Chip because tax season is here. A lot of people are already doing them. We're getting our W-2s in the mail. So that might be something you might want to check out. Chip will be informative and entertaining. He's also been on Friends as an actor, Seinfeld. He's done all the big shows. And just a fun guy to talk to. So Chip will be here at 6:35. Right now, in fact, Chip was on Friends. I think we have that clip. Let's play. This is the episode where Joey gets a job as a tour guide at the museum that Ross works at. And Ross won't sit with Joey, and Joey's hurt. And everyone what happens? I think Ross pours his heart out and says, I'm going to sit with my friend Joey. And everybody opens up about some weird quirk they have. And Chip is the one who talks about turning the lights on and off in this clip.
I'm Rhonda, and these aren't real.
Wow, Rhonda. I'm Scott.
Yeah, okay, Scott.
And I need to flip the light switch on and off 17 times before I leave a room or my family will die.
I am so thrilled. Like, Chip got on Friends. He got on Seinfeld right before it went off the air. He had a really good run. He's also been in like every commercial you've ever seen. But very talented actor and comedian. He'll be here at 6:35. I remember that Rhonda is Sherry Shepherd, who hosts her own show. I believe it's called The Sherry Shepherd Show. So she went on to do big things.
You know, Chip actually was in The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Oh, yeah.
For one episode, he was, I think he was the talent agent. But it's when Zach and Cody go to Hollywood.
Oh, that's great.
And it was one of my favorite episodes growing up. And I had no idea it was him.
Oh, that's funny. He did a great joke. He used to call himself the cheese man of comedy. And he would do all these cheese jokes. And he would say, my favorite type of housing, cottage. Favorite golf club, wedge. Like everything he said was a cheese-related thing. And then he said, you know what my favorite kind of, or what does he say? My favorite kind of dessert is? And everyone says, cheesecake. And he says, nope, apple pie. With a little slice of cheese on top. So it was like one of those bits that we used to tease him about, but it was really funny. And he was a great comedian, too. He's also a big poker player. So I might ask Chip a couple poker questions as well for those of you. We have to get a poker player on, or someone from, I think there's a group called Wisconsin Poker Club. And I wonder if that would be interesting. Like, I find poker fascinating. It's a great game. You got to use your head. I just play on my phone, not for real money, but I like it. But Chip has, I think, placed, whatever that means, in Vegas. He's joined the World Series of Poker and either made the first cut or something like that. So I'll probably ask him about that too. We also have a clip from, do we have time for this clip with Nathan?
Yeah.
Okay, let's play. This is our 720 guest, Nathan Deming, writer-director from his film February.
¿Me prestas tu caña de pescar?
Caña de pescar. Está muy frío, ¿que no?
¿Para qué? Pues es ice fishing.
Ice fishing.
All right, that started off as a clip from like ESPN Deportes. But the story is about an immigrant who doesn't speak English or speaks broken English who discovers the joy of ice fishing. Really fun movie, a short film. Like I mentioned earlier, Nathan will be premiering it up in Marinette at the Mariner Theater on February 22nd. I will be there introducing it. I think it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And he will be showing the film at the Door County Film Festival as well. Very talented, up-and-coming filmmaker, went to film school, great writer. And this is a really neat story. And also poignant now with what's happening with a lot of the immigrants. This one in particular, the lead character in Nathan's film discovers the joy of ice fishing. So even people from other countries can be crazy about hanging out in the cold. It's not just me. You ever ice fish, Conrad?
I have, yeah.
Really? Is it fun?
I mean, I enjoyed my time, but I haven't done it in a very long time.
You have to be a good athlete to do it. That's my question.
I feel like, yeah, to set up, I feel like you do, yeah.
Oh, you
I
gotta
didn't
know
have to
stuff.
set up, but I was watching them do it, and it looked hard.
A lot of work to maybe catch a fish. Well, that's cool. I think it's probably more about the camaraderie, right? Hanging out, having fun. Yeah. I'm always up for any activity that promotes that. All right. So Chip Chinnery coming up after the news here at the bottom of the hour, where our civic media news team keeps you informed and tells you what you need to know around the state. And lots to get to, folks. Great to have you with me on this Monday night. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Just wanna close your eyes, follow your great God. We made a promise, we swore we'd always remember. No retreat, faded, no surrender. Like soldiers on a winter's night.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matinee on Air.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale.
The price of a gallon of gas has fallen slightly in our area. Melissa Kay reports on prices across the state.
The average price of gasoline rose 1.6 cents per gallon in the last week. The average across the state today is $2.94. This is 19.4 cents higher than a month ago and over 21 cents per gallon higher than this time last year. The national price of diesel also rose, increasing 4.4 cents to stand at $3.65 per gallon. Officials at Gas Buddy say oil prices declined over the last week following President Trump's speech at the World Economic Forum. He urged Saudi Arabia to lower oil prices by restoring production. Prices have stabilized for the time being, with crude more than $5 per gallon below prices a couple of weeks ago. Gas Buddy officials are monitoring any potential impacts from the possible U.S. tariffs on Canada and Mexico, as they are key sources of crude oil imports. That deadline is February 1st, and officials will be watching for the possibility of retaliatory tariffs. If the tariffs don't materialize, gas prices could stay relatively stable over the next few weeks until the seasonal rise that usually begins in mid to late February.
In Green Bay, gas is averaging $2.96 a gallon, down almost a cent from last week. And in Appleton, the average price is $2.89 a gallon, down 3.5 cents from last week. Wisconsin's employment numbers hit new record highs in December. The Department of Workforce Development says over 3,075,000 people were working at the end of 2024. That's an increase of about 32,000 over December of 2023. Unemployment numbers slightly increased from 2.9% in November to 3% in December, but are still well below the national average of 4.1%. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. If you're looking for a new hobby that requires almost absolutely no activity, consider Herkel-Durkeling. It's a centuries-old Scottish tradition. Herkel-Durkeling translates to the art of lazing in bed. The practice encourages people to stay in their pajamas and not get up. Most of us consider this being lazy or depressed, but if you use the phrase Herkel-Durkel, it makes it sound more clinical. Still probably not an acceptable excuse for being late to work. Now, hotels are encouraging people to take a Herkel-Durkel stay. Yes, by all means, go spend a few $100 a night to stay in bed and not do anything. Money well spent. Amy Schumer says she might actually be canceled after admitting to hooking up with a fan. She talked about the experience on the Call Her Daddy podcast, saying that a professional baseball player who was a huge fan visited her for a rendezvous in her hotel room one night. She goes into more detail on the podcast. Let's just say they did more than Herkel-Durkel. Schumer's new comedy special, Kind of Pregnant, drops February 5th on Netflix. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Partly cloudy tonight to low in the upper teens to around 20. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy, maybe an early flurry with some sunshine for the afternoon. High temps into the mid-30s. And mostly sunny for Wednesday. Highs low 30s. Currently 35 degrees.
The Todd Alba Show.
The argument from my former party has been, it's not the guns, it's mental health. Well, no worries, folks. Governor Evers has got you covered. He introduced a plan to put millions of dollars into mental health, particularly for young kids. And the Republicans in the chamber did not clap. If you can't be it for kids, then what the heck can you be for? Jeepers, criminy.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Mino and the Mayor.
He's negotiating with our paid sponsor here. No, that's
Sorry.
right.
That is true. Sorry. I forgot you were a paid sponsor.
Kristen Ambos, Point Mortgage Corporation. How are you, Kristen?
I am good. How are you guys
Excellent.
doing?
Nice to see you.
I freaking love starting my mornings with you.
We love having you here. We really do.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday mornings 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW and 98.3 and 96.5 WISS and the Civic Media app. Dom Selvia.
Next time, we go overtime with Maggie Dawn. Plus, Wisconsin Republicans want to limit Governor Evers' veto powers. Why did they do?
Got a text from the 608 in response to our question of the night, which is, do you think there is really a conspiracy to get the Chiefs to the Super Bowl? you're happy. We're happy to let you explain why you think that as well. But the 608 says Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers came close many times, just like Josh Allen. That's life. Vince Lombardi and Andy Reid have the it to win. That's very true. Well said, 608. Steve from the 920. Grandma Krieger says the NFL has a conspiracy against our Green Bay Packers. Because of the bad fixed calls from the NFL refs, our Packers didn't make it, so the Kansas City Chiefs could make it back to the Super Bowl. That's your grandmother, Conrad. What do you think? Don't they have like 6 titles? It's hard to like, the Packers are like a beloved worldwide entity.
Actually, the Packers have the first three-peat before the Super Bowl era.
Correct.
So
that's why it's called the Lombardi Trophy.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. But I don't think, do you think there's a conspiracy?
Just against the Packers?
Yeah.
And,
we hate that small town team with all the charm. It steals the NFL's hearts every year.
No, we're not good enough this year.
She's just a good fan. Thank you, Grandma Krieger, and thank you, Steve, from the 920. All right, we are talking film. Here's what we have tonight. We've got funny, money, and film. And we're going to knock 2 of those 3 out with our next guest. Nathan Deming will be here at 7:20 to talk the film part in his film February. Right now, I am joined by a very good friend of mine who I've known for years. He is a successful author, comedian, actor, and founder of the website Chip's Money Tips. He's a very funny and a frugal guy. Chip.
Pete, how are you?
Good, how are you?
How dare you not mention my film career? I was cop number 1 in Coyote Ugly, you son of a...
How could I'm sorry.
You know,
if residual checks from that?
I do. And if you see, if you ever see the movie Coyote Ugly and I'm the cop who comes in there to break up the bar scene with his other cop buddy, well, the other cop buddy won an Oscar. Nick Vallelonga, he wrote the story about his dad into a movie, The Green Book, which was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, Peter Farrelly directed that. Wow.
I was walking by a movie poster. I'm like, Nick Vallelonga? Why do I know that name? Oh, yeah. So, cop number 2 won an Oscar. Cop number 1, Bupkis.
You've been snubbed for years now when it comes to the Oscars, and I'm going to go to bat for you. Have you ever been brought up on stage with an introduction that called into play your frugality?
This guy's a cheapskate. So.
No, not. Listen, in a good way.
My move.
Have to come clean. Chip helped me years and years ago transfer some credit card debt onto a 0-interest credit card.
Yeah.
So I've always been kind of amazed at your acumen. Like, also, Chip, and we may have mentioned this in the show before, but I had a storage unit in North Hollywood, and we were paying like $1,500 a year for it. And you said, "Why do you have that?" And I said, "Well, we have a crib. We're gonna have another baby, and we have this and this." And you said, "Well, you can buy a new crib for $200." It's a lot
the
cheaper
mattress
than renting.
Yeah, a lot of folks are like, "Oh, that's all my stuff," and then like,
yeah. And you just think differently, and I'm impressed by that, and that's why I love having you on the show.
Thank you.
We'll talk about the credit cards in a minute, but tell us first of all, the last time you were here, you were talking about your book, Charging Mount Stand Up.
Yes.
Really cool book. Really cool, very unique too, with the stories you tell from being on the road. Your first year. How's the book doing?
I think it's done until somebody famous says, "Hey, dudes, I just read this book, and I'm Dave Chappelle, and you should all go buy it." Until that happens, I think it's run its course. I sell a few a month, so it's kind of finished. It ran its course, but I love what it is. In case people don't know, I'm kind of crazy. I decided when I started doing stand up on the road full time in '88, I was like, well, this could all just turn into one 10-year-long blur. So I'm going to take notes. I'm going to keep a journal. I'm going to take pictures at every gig. And I did that. I did that for 12 years. And I compiled my first year into a book. And it has almost 500 pictures of the other comics I worked with and me and, little things from the comedy clubs, little calendars or tickets, all these little things, minutia and memorabilia. So it's packed in there with all the stories of what happened. And I think it's cool.
I think it's really cool, and I love that you did that. You were nice enough to share a picture of me from 30 years ago with a bloated face and big crazy Christopher Penn hair, and I had like mom jeans on. I don't know what I was going for then, but maybe I was just trying to get a laugh.
That's how '89 was. Everybody was doing it.
if people wanted to get a copy of the book and kind of keep the steam going, where can they find it? And I'll say this: I assume everything could be found on Amazon. That guy's rich enough. Is there a mom and pop website people might want to look to buy it from to help out the local mom and pop interneters?
I tried that, and then it turns out it's just more convenient to use the monster. Amazon will hook it up. So if you go to chipchinnery.com, it's the first thing that pops up. So chipchinnery.com, you'll see the book right there. You can click on it. It'll take you to Amazon, and it's I think it's nice. I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah. I did an audiobook if you want to hear more of my pear-shaped tones whistling through your ears. So the audiobook's all on there too, all on the Amazon. Amazon? It's an Audible. Amazon owns Audible, and Audible made the book. So if you have an Audible account, you could go there.
You were able to book yourself to narrate the book. That's a coup.
Yes. I knew a guy, and what's the guy? Then I knew that my name was on the book, so that made me think I had a shot.
That sparked your interest.
Although that doesn't always work.
Well, check out Charging Amount Stand-Up if you can, folks. If you're interested in stand-up comedy and what I would say the unglamorous side of stand-up, the very basic side where people earn their chops. To me, that's the charm and the fun of the book. And you say you've got ticket stubs in there and pictures. It's like a great scrapbook for some people you might have heard of and want to know more about. I think it's great. Yeah, like my opening act, Dave Chappelle. I closed the book down with him because we did a diner in Alexandria, Virginia on a weekend. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, any place that looked like it could seat people and could put a microphone somewhere had stand-up. And that was a diner called the American Grill in Alexandria, Virginia. And they took out a booth and they put up a microphone and a little stage and a speaker. We're 10 feet from the salad bar. And station.
Jeff Hatz opened up, and one of his lines was, "Uh-oh, somebody likes Thousand Island." And then Dave went up in the middle. Oh, he's funny. Dave went up in the middle, and then I went down, and I have pictures of him there, and I'm sure people are like, I don't remember. That's Dave Chappelle? Oh, my gosh. He was 17 at the time.
Funny.
Yeah. But other people like Bill Hicks, Brian Regan, Rita Rudner, who else make appearances in there? Ron Tater Salad White.
Tater Salad
A
White.
lot of folks who went on to big and better things.
I think it's great that you have Chappelle in there. Have you seen his new? Did you see him on Saturday Night Live or any of his new stand-up specials? How do you? He's like one of the most cutting edge, one of the most respected stand-ups right now. Do you watch all of his stuff? How do you think he's aged? He seems like one of those guys that has just brought his whole life with him and his perspective, and has such a unique take on everything.
I thought he was very relaxed on SNL, like in almost having fun in a way that organically having fun in a way that I hadn't seen. Like on a couple of his specials, I didn't like how he laughed at his jokes, because that's kind of a pet peeve that a lot of comics might have. That it's like, dude, this is the 100th time you've done that, so you're just acting, and we all know that. So that's a little irritant to me.
Or it's a nervous tick of some sort. Yeah,
that could be too. And whatever Mr. Chappelle wants to do, that's fine. I mean,
right.
But I liked his performance on SNL. He's it's funny because I think of him as two people. I think of him as the world famous Dave Chappelle, but then I'm also like, oh, that's right. I have a video of him bringing me up at Garvin's in DC back when he was 17. And it's weird. Like when I was writing this book, I was like, well, I should put the video on my website so people could see it. And so I did. But it's weird. It's like he's like two people to me. He's like he's the guy who's a few years younger than me, and he's the guy who's 17. But
That's
he's
really
done pretty well.
And he has, and he's so brazen on. He's not afraid to address anything. And the couple times I've been around him, I mean, I've said two words to the guy, but he was very quiet and reserved, and he just kind of sat there. He's not like his stage persona in the sense that, well, not that he's outgoing on stage, but I was just surprised how quiet he was.
Yeah. He's just hanging out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But that Jeff Hatz, man, he has always cracked me up. I've never even seen him do stand-up, but just hanging around him up at Rick Messina's place playing wiffle ball on the weekends and watching football games. I love Jeff. What was the line he said again about the Thousand Island?
Uh-oh, who likes Thousand Island? It's just somebody loading it on their lettuce. Somebody likes Thousand Island.
Oh, that's funny. I got to write that down.
Think Tim Conway. That's kind of how I think of Jeff Hatz. I kind of start with Tim Conway.
We used to
The
play
alive Tim Conway, not the dead one.
No, well,
I'm sorry. That's inappropriate. There's a Tim Conway Jr., and that's not who I'm talking about.
somehow that's more insulting to Jeff Hatz, I think, than Tim Conway, even that you're comparing him to a guy who's no longer with us. But, hey, let's turn to finances, Chip. Chip Chinnery is my guest. He's the founder of Chip's Money Tips. Check it out. So we're kind of in tax season. Would you call this tax season? I've been getting W-2s like crazy. What can you tell us? What do you tell? I'm trying to figure out a way. Like, you're not an accountant.
I'm not an. I have no. I know stuff. I'm like a guy at the end of a bar who says, "You know what you should do." That's kind of who I am. I don't have a finance degree. I got my degree in business psychology. I am not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy. A guy with some.
You didn't hang a shingle out on the road. You're the guy someone in the bar would say, "Hey, go out back. This guy's got some really good advice for you."
Here's what you do, kid. Put away 10% of your income. You'll never be poor. What? So yeah, I've learned things in life, and I remember about 15 years ago, I said to my buddy, I was like, "Hey, should I do like a late night infomercial?" Back when that was still, I guess, the thing. I don't know if it still is.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "No, dude, you got to do a blog like the kids do." So I started Chip's Money Tips, and I just started giving advice, little things, what I think are common sense, but I'm surprised that other people don't see it that way. But I'm happy to tell them what I know, and it's ways to get free money for certain things, or which credit card is going to be the best thing for you, why you want to. It goes all the way to why you should have a trust or a living will. So it gets to those kind of boring things, but it's more fun to say, "Hey, go get this credit card and you can save yourself hundreds of dollars, or get yourself $750 for spending this much money." It's because that is, by the way, the kind of things that are out there that people.
And this is what I like about what you do. Like, even though you're not an accountant, like you've opened my eyes to the thing we just talked about with the storage facility. Yeah, why am I paying $1,500 a year when I could sell this and buy a new crib 3 years later for about the same money and save $1,500 a year for 3 or 4 years? I mean, a lot of people don't think like that, and you do.
Yeah, I call it my crazy. Everybody's got their crazy, and my crazy is that I think that way. So that I always said I was born in the Depression. I just feel like it's like I take issue when somebody tries to take money from me or my friend's money. So I'm kind of weird like that. I know it's a weird thing, but I like to. It's like I'm like, "Hey, why don't you not do that? I want to do this, huh? Oh,
and you're
okay."
and that adds up. Like, I'm the guy that will say it's $2 or whatever, it's $50, and that adds up, and that drives my wife crazy. Like, because when I think of all the money I probably thrown away over the years, when you add that up, that's a 401k. That's like something. And how do you tell people to train themselves to think more about this stuff if you can?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I can go so far as to go, first of all, don't go crazy about it. It's just money. It's just ink on a paper. And actually, it's not even that. We don't actually see that anymore. It gets deposited and it's ink on a website. You don't even know what it is, but it makes some people sick for not having enough of it or being in debt. So I try to be, what is it? The view from above. What is like a 10,000 mile view above? What do they call it, Pete? When they say you're seeing the big picture.
The all 24 cam, something like that.
I don't know.
Right,
but then also,
go ahead, Chip.
Oh yeah. But just I think it's very easy to start going, so what? It's a $7 coffee, but it really does add up. And then you can go, well, how much could it add up to? Well, if it's $5 a day, that's $1,825 a year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, for 10 years, that's 18,000.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That'd be nice to have that kind of money. Yeah. But then on the other side of it. Yeah, the other side of it, what could you
hold that thought? Okay, we got to do a quick thing. We'll come back and pick it up right there with coffee. This is Night Light with Pete Schwaba. Chip Chinnery's joining us here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Central heat, the HVAC systems that heat your entire house. Man, those can really cost us an arm and a leg. And they lose up to 30% of their energy through the ductwork, plus more when we're heating rooms that we aren't even using. Well, one trick that can bring down your heating bill is to lower your thermostat and use energy-efficient space heaters where you really need the heat. I'm a little retro, and I like radiant heaters. Those are heaters that just heat a specific area in a room. On average, running a 1,500-watt space heater is going to cost you about 20 cents an hour. While running your central electric furnace, that's going to run you $1.37 an hour. So space heaters can mean real savings. However, if you use a space heater, make sure you follow the directions for their safe use. For more everyday money tips, check out workmoney.org. The next time, I'm Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
The Todd Alba Show.
The argument from my former party has been, it's not the guns, it's mental health. Well, no worries, folks. Governor Evers has got you covered. He introduced a plan to put millions of dollars into mental health, particularly for young kids. And the Republicans in the chamber did not clap. If you can't be it for kids, then what the heck can you be for? Jeepers, criminy.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Mino and the Mayor.
We're very pleased to have Nathan Olson here, Olson Legal Group, also the sponsor of our Veteran Salute.
Welcome. I want to start out with that whole thank you for your service, because we really mean that. And you hear that. I appreciate that. And it's really sincere. And some people say, well, it gets a little bit overused. What else are you going to say?
You know, I really don't know what to say when people say that, too. Right. Because there is a selfless service aspect to it,
but you appreciate it.
Yeah, you very much.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday.
Do you think the NFL is rigged? You think they're trying to get the Chiefs to head back to the Super Bowl to see if they can three-peat? Was there a conspiracy yesterday? A lot of people on social media up in arms over referee calls. I don't think there was. But it's open for debate. Let us know what you think. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Personally, I think people see conspiracy everywhere now, but I would be very curious to know what you think. There's a lot of money to be made. That's probably why people think that. But my guest right now is Chip Chinnery.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What, Chip?
I'm a Bengals fan, and I think that the refs are out to hurt my Bengals.
You're talking to a Bears fan, so I feel your pain.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well,
do you think that was
I cut you off
yesterday?
I don't know.
I couldn't.
I watched
it. It wasn't conclusive.
Oh, that one, yeah, it wasn't conclusive. I think sports generally like to have dynasties. That's why they don't complain about the Yankees and Dodgers buying teams, because I've heard them say that they think it's important to have big winning teams, but I don't know. And it's kind of cool, the idea of a three-peat in the Super Bowl era. That'd be cool, but I was rooting for the Bills, but I was at my buddy Blake's house, and he's a Chiefs fan.
Oh, dear.
I kept it on the DL.
Probably smarter. You won't get any casserole. So, hey, Chip, finish your story. We were talking about, buying coffee over the course of years. It could be 18 grand, and that is really eye-opening. What about for those of us who aren't that patient, who can't?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is, like, if you know that $5 a day is $1,825 a year, you could take the other side instead of like starving your desire. Like, what if you really like that coffee and it actually really makes you happy? It's only $5, but if you can find a way to make $5 a day more, like, are you an Uber driver? You can, if you drove and picked up $35 once in a drive, that's enough money to cover your $5 a day habit for coffee.
A week. Yeah.
So in a way, it's like, hey, I splurge for the coffee, but you know what? So I just drive for Uber once a week and I pick up the extra money, So if you can make a little extra that way, or however else you make your extra money. So I'm looking at you, Schwaba. So yeah, I mean, that's
something to be said though for being happy though. You're right. And making yourself happy, right?
If you're just going to starve yourself and just be like, you don't need to, make yourself happy a little bit to get yourself going. If it really gets you going, or if you're just like, if you're someone who's just, I don't know, I just shove stuff in my face because I'm just trying to make myself happy and I don't know what's going to make that happen, then that's a bigger issue. But if you like your latte with your caramel in it, go for it.
But I think your message is be cognizant of how much you're spending and if that's worth it to you, because to me that's the big thing. Like I had that revelation probably 15, 20 years ago. Like, oh my God, I'm spending a ton of money on coffee. I got young kids. Their college wasn't paid for. It's like, I'm going to make my coffee at home.
Yeah.
It's simple stuff like that. Do you have, there's all this talk about tariffs. We've been dealing with inflation the last 4 years. What is a guy like you, do you anticipate things happening or trends where you sort of like, if inflation continues, how do you combat that? If at all, if you can.
I don't pay too much attention to it. I've always said that I ignore recessions because I have my first nickel. I'm able to spend on things until things get back to normal. So I don't really have to cut back. I've not been in a situation where I had to make hard choices. So I don't have to do that. But I also I bought my third car in my lifetime, and my friends here, I'm 60. So yeah, I just bought my third car. And my last car was 25 and a half years old. But I bought it. I knew I wanted to buy it in December because I know that's the best time of the year to get a car. And I wanted to get it because I thought that if tariffs are going to happen, prices are going to go up. Maybe not for the 1-year-old car like I bought, but I just thought, well, let me just get it done now. It's long enough. I've had a quarter century with this car.
Jeez.
And then I sold that through a Facebook fan page group for my car, and somebody gave me $1,300.
So you got something back. That's pretty. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. People don't understand when is the best time to buy a car. You could Google it, but
right,
you could hear it tonight too from Chip of Chip's Money.
Yeah.
And let's talk about. First of all, let me just ask you this: Chip's Money Tips. What do you have? Do you have a general tip you can just give people right now?
Well, it's new every January that rolls along. I think, well, everybody's been spending their money on their, on their credit cards, running up for the Christmas season, and it almost dovetails into the thing you started talking about, just to how to get out of this high interest credit card into a lower interest credit card. And I don't know if people know this, but if you have credit card debt and you're on a card that's, you're paying 20-25% interest on it, you can get a new card and transfer the balance from your first card over to this new card. And the new card, they have promotions for months, even up to 21 months at 0%. So you can move your balance from your one card that has a high interest rate over to this new card. And all you have to do is make the minimum monthly payment on the new card, and you'll keep your 0% interest rate for the term of whatever the deal is, like 21 months or 18 months. So I have those at Chips Money Tips, and just total transparency. If you go to chipsmoneytips.com and you upper right-hand corner, Chip's favorite credit card offers, and click on balance transfer credit cards, it'll take you to a different site that's secure, and you can apply for the card. And if you get it, I get a little jingle jangle. So just so you know, that's.
I will say, like I mentioned at the top when you came on the show, you helped us do that and get pay those things down where you're not just paying interest. That's such a great bit of advice. You just have to be on top of stuff. So we'll have more with Chip Chinnery from Chip's Money Tips after Civic Media's news team keeps you informed. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Only lover I'm ever gonna need. The soft, sweet little girl's talking.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Maggie Dawn.
At the top of the show, I'll be joined by former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn explaining why Brad Schimmel should never be a Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice. Don't miss it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4.
Who wants a free Bloody Mary or a mimosa? I bet that got your attention. It's Amanda with your new Wisco 411, and on Wednesday, January 29th, you can watch Mino and the Mayor live at Heights Pub and Parlor as we get together to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. Enjoy a complimentary Bloody Mary or mimosa the morning of the show as you watch the guys, well, be the guys, live, in person, with special guests. Go ahead and check it out. Go to WGBW.FM and click events to learn more.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app. This is 97.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. One of the at least 17 federal inspectors general President Trump fired late Friday night is talking. Mark Greenblatt, formerly Interior Department Inspector General, says he got an email saying his position had been terminated. The role, he says, is supposed to be apolitical.
Who does he appoint in these positions? Is he going to appoint someone who is, a watchdog, or is he going to appoint someone who's a lapdog?
Los Angeles now allowing all residents of the fire-ravaged Pacific Palisades section to return to what's left. However, a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew remains in effect. Illinois is among states that legalized recreational marijuana. Apparently, though, many still like to procure their herb the old-fashioned way. And from Rockford, Illinois, word of the arrest of Eric Henderson during a traffic stop on Friday night. Cops say they found 2.5 pounds of pot in his car. This is ABC News.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com, or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New year, new you, New Nordic.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. On February 15th, Theta Clark Medical Center in Wapaka will cease all maternity services when it shuts down the labor and delivery unit. Friday, members of the Facebook group Save Our Wapaka Labor and Delivery protested the hospital in an effort to save the maternity services. The hospital claims labor shortages and increases in the complexities of maternity care have driven more people to use Theta Care in Neenah to deliver their babies. Theta Care has said the community pushback will not change their decision, and the maternity unit at Theta Care Wapaka will be closed. In August of last year, just days before he turned 6 years old, Lincoln Meny died when he was struck by a truck while riding his bicycle in Fond du Lac. Now his mother, Rochelle Reby, is working to require non-trauma center ERs to be notified and updated on accident victims, even if they're supposed to be taken to another hospital via Flight for Life or a similar service.
Because he was supposed to go straight to flight, the paramedics didn't notify the hospital that they had him, so they knew nothing about him.
The Bills lose in Kansas City. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. NFL, the Buffalo Bills lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs 32-29. The Bills had the lead 10-7 in the second quarter, despite losing defensive back Christian Benford after he was carted off the field with another concussion. Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
Losing CB hurt us early there. Had a chance to convert a fourth down there, fourth and short, and then another fourth down late in the game there. It looked like we had a chance to catch it. Didn't work out that way.
The Chiefs are headed to their third consecutive Super Bowl. Head coach Andy Reid.
I'm proud of our guys battling. I mean, Pat Mahomes was phenomenal. Travis Kelce, their leadership, Chris Jones, they didn't waver at all, and they know when to have fun, but they also know when to bear down.
The Chiefs will take on the Eagles, who beat Washington 55-23. NBA, the Bucks are in Utah tonight to play the Jazz. College basketball, the Badgers with a blowout win at home over Nebraska, 83-55. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Partly cloudy tonight to low in the upper teens to around 20. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy, maybe an early flurry with some sunshine for the afternoon. High temps into the mid-30s. And mostly sunny for Wednesday. Highs low 30s. Currently 35 degrees.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself. Surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
The Todd Alba Show.
The argument from my former party has been, it's not the guns, it's mental health. Well, no worries, folks. Governor Evers has got you covered. He introduced a plan to put millions of dollars into mental health, particularly for young kids. And the Republicans in the chamber did not clap. If you can't be it for kids, then what the heck can you be for? Jeepers, criminy.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Tuesday's show, Greg Thompson, American English Show at Waverly Beach, and Kerry Josephson from the Walk to End Alzheimer's.
And we'll talk the Mobile Center with Kathy Compton.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who never leaves the house without wearing a cup, Pete Schwaba.
All right. Let's kick hour number 2 off here, folks. Hey, we got a great lineup of guests this week. Tomorrow night on the show, from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel entertainment reporter Chris Foran will be here. We'll talk some Oscars with Chris. Comedian Olivia Witt, who I understand is a Madison native but makes her home in Brooklyn now. Frank Hermans will be here to talk about his new show, which will open here in Green Bay shortly, right down the street at the Meyer Theater. Our buddy Ben Reiser will be on Wednesday as well. Actor Rick Overton will be here. He was in Groundhog Day. We'll have a discussion about Groundhog Day, one of my favorite movies in preparation of Groundhog Day. And Chris Opper from the Door County Film Festival will be here also on Thursday. Right now,
hey, Pete,
we're barreling through.
I like to interrupt you whenever I can.
I've noticed that, Chip. That's okay. You're a guest on the show. My microphone. That wouldn't have sounded right. My show is your show. It's great.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know a fun fact that Rick Overton and I share?
Absolutely, I do.
Not the same year, but we have the same birthday.
Oh, is that right?
And every year on Facebook, hey Rick, happy birthday. Hey Chip, happy birthday. All right.
Did you ever do stand up with Rick?
No, but you know who else shares that date? Our friend Rich Brown.
Oh, Rich Brown.
Yeah.
You know what I always used to say about Rich Brown?
No.
He's not really rich, so I used to call him Comfortable Brown. He's comfortable. But he could use some Chip's money tips. No. Rich is one of the funniest guys I know. You share some good birthdays there, buddy. That's fantastic. And you're all, Rick's not a redhead, but Rich kind of has red hair. That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I think of Rich as a redheaded guy. Yeah.
That's what he wants on his tombstone, actually.
What a nice redheaded guy.
Exactly. Nathan Deming will be here at 7:20 talking about his film February. He's making a tour around the state, and Nathan plans on making a film for every month of the year set in Wisconsin, which I think is so cool. We'll talk to Nathan in a few minutes. Right now, we have a little more time here with Chip. I'm trying to figure out where I want to. All right, so Chip, how can people improve their credit score? You told me once that you had like 30 credit cards.
Yes.
That you put a little money on at a time and then you pay it off and then you transfer it to Amazon and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And having those credit cards, does that lower your credit or does that raise your credit score?
Yes. Here's my deal.
Tell us how.
I've taken credit card offers for the last 30 years over my life. And then some of them will be like, hey, this card will get you all these frequent flyer miles, but it comes with an annual fee that's waived the first year. But then the year goes by, I get the frequent flyer miles, and then they say, hey, here's that annual fee. And then I go, hey, no, thank you. And so then what I do is I downgrade to the free version of that card. And that invariably has, okay, for every $2 you spend on this card, you get 1 frequent flyer mile. And I say, thank you, good to know. And then I stash it in wherever I stash my credit cards. And then every January, and I just did this a couple weeks ago. It's seriously, the calendar turns and I'm like, okay, where's my computer? Here we go. I go to Amazon and I put $5 because that's the minimum now. It used to be $2, but they made it $5. So I put $5 on each one of my credit cards that I have stored at Amazon, and I go $5 in one, $5 in two. So I know, different credit cards are different amounts, and so that keeps my activity on the credit cards happening. And I know some people say, no, you got to do it every 6 months. Well, I'm telling you right now, I've done this for 10 years easily. And once a year is just fine. Nobody closes the card for it can go dormant and they will close a card on you. And that's bad for your credit score. So you never want that to happen. But I have had no problem just charging it once a year to keep the card alive and to keep some activity on it. And all I used to go to the gas station and load up my gas tank $2 at a time, which is fun for the guy behind me.
Yeah.
But then I was like, hey, Amazon's got this other thing. This is easier. So I would go to, now I just go to Amazon. It takes about a minute per card. So it does take time, but 30 cards, 30 minutes. And then I wait about 5 days and all the card transactions have paid Amazon and they're sitting there at the Amex or Chase or Citi. And I go sign in and I pay them all off in full. And I do it strategically, Pete, because I've also had all of my cards set to close on the 20th of the month.
Wow.
So I go in on the 1st, make the charge, pay it off, and then the statements close and there's no balance.
Now, how much are you going to see on your credit score from doing that?
Well, just by keeping the cards alive and keeping, I've got $5,000 credit line on this one, $3,000 here. Oh, $15,000 over here. By keeping that credit limit alive and the credit history on the card alive, these are components of your FICO score. How long have you had credit? What's your average credit year? My year, I forget what it is, but it's like, my average score is like 20 years. So that's good. I have a good credit history of 20 years or more. And they say, oh, you've got all the, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars on my credit line, which, it's nice because when I only use one card in my real life all the time. And even if it's like, you have $1,000 on there this month. Well, the $1,000 is 1% of $100,000. And if I have a $100,000 credit line, the part of my credit score that looks at the ratio of how much I've used to available credit is so low. It's like, that's only 1%. Dude, that's great. Oh, and you have a long credit history? That's great. And you've got all this unused credit. This is fantastic. Oh, you get to have a score of 830.
And they give you low interest rate if you apply for a loan or another credit card or something, right?
Yeah, you will get the lowest interest rates available if you have a good credit score. So it's a minutia. It's kind of a weird thing. And I even sometimes just pay off the credit card in full before the 20th so that I have 0% usage that month. Now, it's a little weird. You don't have to do that.
Okay.
But you don't have to.
Boy, that is fascinating. Do you think there are people at these credit card companies that are out to get you? There's a Chinnery charging $1.25 again on his gas card. What, like, do you
would
think they have investigators that come after you?
We got another one.
The system?
Yeah. What's this guy's problem? I don't know. He says you ripped off his parents or something. All right, whatever. I think that they have so many people and they're so large that they're like, I don't care.
How could they? Like, there's no way. Like, unless there's some sort of huge data thing coming up on their reports or something.
Like, they know some people are gaming the system, but I think they're just like, oh, whatever. Oh,
Yeah.
you asked about a hot tip. Hot tip.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a chip money tip.
I'm a big. If you're not getting 2% cash back on your everyday credit card, you're not trying. There's a couple out there, easy ones like Wells Fargo Active Cash Card, which I did a commercial for with Regina King, and then there's other ones like if you have Bank of America can get you up to 2.625% with 3.5 on restaurants if you have $75,000 at Merrill Lynch. So that's a little. You got to have some money to get that higher tier, and you got to join something. You got to join the Premier program, so that's a little more complicated. But there's also a new thing.
Should I put $75,000 on a credit card to get that money at Merrill Lynch? Would that be a good?
Ooh, I meant 75 grand in assets like stocks or your IRA.
All right, continue, please.
There's also a similar program that just came out in the last couple months from U.S. Bank, and they're pitching their U.S. Bank Smartly credit card. And if you get that credit card and you have, I think it's $100,000 in assets at U.S. Bank, they're going to give you 4% cash back. Well, this is kind of ridiculous. I don't know how long that's going to last. Because you charge something on a credit card, you got to. I don't know how they're going to make this work. Maybe they're focusing on volume or something. I don't know.
It's
maybe
gotta be right.
They're focusing on people maybe looking at other products that U.S. Bank has, kind of like a loss leader. Hey, come get this credit card, and you have all your stocks here. Are you sure you don't want your assets managed by our management team? Or I don't know what their end game is.
Let me ask you this, Chip. We just bought a futon for the guest room so that people have a place to sleep, whatever. It's cost about $1,000, whatever. I paid it off on PayPal, interest-free within 6 months. I think I paid it off in like 4 months. Is that what I should have done, or should I have prolonged it to the 6 months or gone to a credit card where I get money back? What's the best way to pay something off if you plan to pay it off interest-free?
I think you did fine. Don't kill yourself. You did. You paid it off. You're not paying interest on it. That's great. Don't worry about it. I'm crazy. So, like right now, I know I have a property tax bill coming up in a couple months, and I know it's going to be a few $1,000s. So I'm kind of thinking about maybe getting another credit card, and maybe I'll get a business credit card from Chase Inc. And what are the limits on that? Well, I will tell you if I click on it enough. But it's like right now they got a thing where you spend a few $1,000s and you'll get $750 cash back, and it's like,
oh my!
It sounds too good to be true, and it's like I'm looking at one right now through Chip's Money Tips, the business link. Don't worry about it. Inc. Business Unlimited Credit Card. They're giving 1.5% cash back. I've done this one before. Plus, you'll get a $750 bonus if you spend $6,000 in the first 3 months that the card's open. So that's $2,000 a month. I know I got these big bills coming up. You're actually helping me here because I know I have my State Farm. I have insurance. I have 2 insurance things coming up, and I have a property tax thing coming up. And I'm like, I should just get this because I charged those things on this card. I'm going to get 1.5% cash back anyway.
Right.
And so that's going to be $6,000. 1.5% cash back is going to be another $90. And I'm going to get 90 plus that bonus of $750. That's $840. And it's tax-free because it's technically a rebate. So you're not going to get a 1099.
Conrad, first of all, has been writing furiously trying to keep up with all this. You can just listen to the podcast tomorrow, Conrad.
Conrad, you have the Chips Money Tips concierge service. You can just email me and I'll
there you go.
Get you on the horn. We'll get this done.
And here's what happens. I was starting to I'm following you, and then you started to lose me at the end there. And I think that's how people they're just not as informed in this stuff. And that's why they need Chip's Money Tips. So check it out, Chip. Thank you so much, buddy. There's a lot we didn't get to, but check out Chip's Money Tips. And do yourself a favor and save some money. Thank you, buddy.
Good talking to you, Pete.
You too. All right. That's Chip Chinnery. When we come back after a very short break, filmmaker Nathan Deming is here. One of my favorites, joining me in the studio. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. It's free, too, folks. So stick around. This is Night Light with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network. Every day sunshine.
From Denmark to De Pere, this is 97.9 WGBW.
Hi, I'm Michael Friedman, CEO of Simple Life Hospitality. Let us take the hassle out of vacation rental property management. We'll maximize your earnings and handle every detail from cleaning to maintenance and repairs. For guests, enjoy a stay that feels like home with hand-selected properties, personal touches like local recommendations, and extras like concierge service that will make your trip unforgettable. Whether you're a homeowner or a traveler, experience the Simple Life. Visit simpleliferentals.com.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump returned to office, sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Right out of the gate, he took a number of actions on his top issue, immigration. Perhaps the most troubling of these is one aiming to end birthright citizenship in America. An immigration attorney I talked to told me, "We're going to sit through a lot of BS over the course of the next weeks, months, and years, but this is the big one." My take? This action from the Trump administration is despicable, unconstitutional, and fundamentally anti-American. The day after the order was issued, Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul joined a coalition of 20 states challenging this action in court. This legal battle will be a tremendously important one for all of us to follow.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area and on our website at civicmedia.us. Matt Nair on air.
Dan Schaefer, Civic Media's political editor.
No court in the country came closer to overturning the 2020 election results than the conservative majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And we have Brad Schimmel, who's been siding with January 6 rioters. So if you want your vote to count going forward, show up and vote on April 1st. Let's channel that energy into the Wisconsin Supreme Court race.
Matt Nair on air. Weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media.
Said Thursday is like Christmas Eve of weekdays. Monday is just like, what, the Monday of weekdays?
Yeah, I think so.
Even when you have a lot to talk about, it still feels like a Monday. And I said that without swearing. All right, it is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to Nite, someone here, a guest. I love when a guest comes to the studio. He's a filmmaker. He's a Wisconsin guy making his home in L.A. right now, but he's back here promoting a film he did called February, and he's taken it around the state. I love this idea. Nathan Deming joins me in the studio now. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Pete. Good. How are you?
Doing great. It's fun that you made Green Bay part of your stop on the tour. Yeah, I know you got to... Let's talk about February first. Let's start there. This great film, and it's the follow-up to... January.
And can you guess what's coming next?
I wish it was July, but it's probably March.
It's March.
Yeah, so tell us... what do you want to talk about? February 1st, or where this idea came from? You want to make a movie for each month?
Yeah, that's my dream. I want to make a movie for every month of the year. I'm calling it the Year Project.
Okay.
I'm going in order. And I have this larger story that I really want to tell. It's kind of like there's this Polish series I'm kind of inspired by called The Decalogue. If you've heard of that, this filmmaker named Kieslowski, he made 10 films, one for every commandment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm doing 12 films, one for every month of the year, all in Wisconsin, all different like Wisconsin stories, Wisconsin people. So the first one's about this kind of like loudmouth church volunteer overseeing a shotgun wedding in the coldest month of...
Which is really funny.
Yeah.
I've seen the film. She is hilarious.
She's a very sharp cheddar flavor of a character.
It sounds like you've got a little commandment breaking in those films you're making, too, which is interesting.
Yeah.
A nice little tribute you worked in there.
Yeah. And then February, though, that's the one I'm taking around Wisconsin. So excited. We're going all over the state. And this one's about a Latino immigrant who's struggling to fit into Wisconsin until he finds ice fishing. And it's about a lot more than that, but that's kind of the basic premise. So.
I love it. It's such a great... Are you an ice fisherman?
I knew it a little bit before I made the film, but then I got really into it while making it.
You brought something here. Let's show this on the stream. He brought his actual ice fishing equipment. What do you call that guy?
This is a tip-up, which you didn't know what it was, right?
I didn't. Well, now I do that I see it, but when you said I brought a tip-up with me, I'm like, well, you can't drink on the show. I didn't know what you were talking about. But yeah, this is like ice fishing. The flag goes up when you get a bite, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good sign.
And then you reel in that perch.
Yeah, or whatever.
Or whatever.
Usually it's something worse. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So where did you get this?
Pawn shop.
Pawn shop. People pawning this stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, so one of the funnier stories about making the film is most of the cast was cast like they were actors, I auditioned them. But then the ice fisherman character, which you saw the film,
yeah,
there's a very strong Wisconsinite character who's an ice fisherman. I could not find anybody. I was casting everywhere. And eventually I just threw up an ad on Craigslist. And this guy got back to me, or his wife got back to me and said, "Oh, this is totally my husband."
He probably had no idea she was volunteering him.
Yeah, and then I met him. He was perfect. I was like, oh, the whole film came to life. He had never acted before, and then he was perfect in the movie. And actually, most of the gear in the movie, not this bit, but most of the gear in the movie was his own gear then,
Isn't that
too.
crazy?
And because I had some that I was getting that would look older, look used and stuff, and then he was like, "That's a piece of crap. That's a piece of crap. We're not using that. We're gonna use my stuff." So yeah.
And he was good.
Yeah, he's really good. I think. Yeah.
It just goes to show you can never pigeonhole people. Like I remember when I shot a film in Northeast Wisconsin and we shot on this farm and the guy next door comes over. He's this young farmer and he's telling me all these movies he'd seen. And I'm like, whoa, he's way ahead of me. And he lives on this farm in Marinette County. He's like, yeah, we got the Independent Film Channel and all that stuff.
Well, that's something I'm kind of passionate about with doing these month films, which deliberately I want to do over 15 years.
Man,
every few years I'll make one.
That is
But I want to
impressive.
make them all in Wisconsin with Wisconsinites because I think there are so many talented people here.
Absolutely.
Characters we've never seen before, people that don't normally get on the big screen, and I'm excited to find them and meet them and make something.
They're out there.
They're out there.
You've already found some.
I've already found some.
You've done January, February, March. If you need someone in the warmer months, I'm happy to help you out. I'm just kidding. But you've always let's talk about that. Is it tough to find? Wisconsin, as of right now anyway, isn't. I wouldn't say it's known as a film state. You're looking for talent in a state that's not necessarily a film state, in a pretty rural area, aside from your leading actor. First of all, where did you find your leading actor? And then where did you find everybody else? Did you use a bigger casting director or just put out stuff locally?
Well, we did cast out of LA. So
Okay.
David, a majority of the cast is Latino, and
Okay.
half the film is in Spanish, like that clip you had earlier is
Yeah.
in Spanish. Yeah. So obviously a very large talent pool in LA to draw from.
Sure.
Yeah, David's from Riverside, California. He's a really good young actor, and he's actually coming out for the first week.
Oh, nice.
And I think he had a good time here when we filmed. He has a fridge magnet apparently that he is a treasured possession now. But
Okay.
But yeah, whenever I ask him, he's just like, I just remember it was cold. That's all I remember. It's
All right, so you're doing this screening. You're showing it around the state. What are some of the cities you're showing it in? Aside from Marinette, you're coming to where I live, which I think is great, at the Mariner Theater on the 22nd of February.
and you're going to be
1
there.
o'clock.
and
I'll
it'll
be there
fun.
introducing it. We
Yeah.
could do Q&As. We
Yeah.
could do the twist if you want, whatever. I'm happy to help you promote this because I think it's such a cool idea and not, hasn't been done before. What you're doing over 15 years as your plan, the patience, you have to have documentary film patience. You're like the guy who did Boyhood, Richard Linklater.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people have done other things plenty like this. I'm just finding my own path. And for some reason, I'm really inspired by the months of the year.
Yeah.
I just think it's a great container for stories, especially in Wisconsin where we have such strong different months. Because I've lived in LA for 10 years now. You remember you've lived in LA.
Yeah.
Every single month is the exact same thing. So
it's funny you say that. The longer you're there, you do notice the differences.
Oh, yeah,
but there's so, when you get there, it's like, why are you watching the weather?
Yeah,
There's nothing that's the same every day. So where else are you showing the film around Wisconsin? You got Marinette. You're at the Door County Film Festival in mid-February. We'll
Mhm.
talk about that too.
Yeah.
But where else around the state can people see February?
Well, you name it, we might be going there. We have our full list online at februaryfilm.com/screenings.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, Alma, Richland Center, Eau Claire, Toma, Sparta, Elroy.
All right.
We're going all over.
So Nathan also took the liberty of bringing some fun facts about the month of February, which is totally, that works for tonight. And then we're going to do a quiz, too, about some of the cities you're playing in. So how well you know your Wisconsin trivia, we will all learn. You're welcome to text or call in answers. We'll put these out there. We'll see if Conrad and I can guess a few. Nathan Deming's in the studio, folks. He is an up-and-coming filmmaker, incredibly talented. Joining me here on Nightlight, we're talking about his film February, which you can see most likely coming to a city near you in Wisconsin. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. We'll be back with more with Nathan after the news on the Civic Media Radio Network. You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection is inviting individuals with a passion for promoting agriculture to apply for the position of the 78th Allison Dairyland through January 31st. As one of the most widely recognized marketing communications professionals in Wisconsin agriculture, Allison Dairyland travels extensively promoting Wisconsin's agricultural industry and its impact on the state economy. In this highly visible and fast-paced position, Allison Dairyland serves as a full-time spokesperson, cultivates relationships with television, radio, and print media outlets throughout the state, writes and delivers speeches at events, and uses social media to tell the stories of Wisconsin agriculture. Additional duties include developing and executing marketing plans, delivering classroom presentations, and networking with industry professionals. Alice must also learn and retain information about the diversity of Wisconsin agriculture and be able to tailor that information to educate both urban and rural audiences. Allison Dairyland applicants should have an interest in Wisconsin agriculture, public speaking experience, and at least 3 years of experience, education, or training in communications, marketing, education, or public relations. Applicants must also be female and at least 21 years old. Oh, and most importantly, a Wisconsin resident. To apply, provide a cover letter, completed application form, resume, and contact information for 3 professional references to datcpalice@wisconsin.gov. Application materials are available on the Allison Dairyland website. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Really good actors are supposed to be fearless. Leonardo DiCaprio is typically one of them. That was not the case, though, on the set of Django Unchained. During a recent interview with Vanity Fair, Jamie Foxx recalled DiCaprio, who played a ruthless slave owner, had trouble saying words that were racial slurs, even though he was in character. According to Fox, Samuel Jackson put DiCaprio at ease, saying, like only Samuel Jackson can, "You can say that, mother." DiCaprio got the point. If you've got $150 million burning a hole in your pocket, consider purchasing Tom Brady's house. The amazing quarterback and mediocre commentator is selling his mansion in Miami. Don't worry, renovations are done, and they must have been doozies because he purchased the home in 2024 for 17 million smackers. Not many people pocket 133 mil on a sale. Anyone interested in pretending to be filthy rich and taking a tour? I'm in. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Partly cloudy tonight to low in the upper teens to around 20. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy, maybe an early flurry with some sunshine for the afternoon. High temps into the mid-30s. And mostly sunny for Wednesday. Highs low 30s. Currently 35 degrees.
The Todd Alba Show.
The argument from my former party has been, it's not the guns, it's mental health. Well, no worries, folks. Governor Evers has got you covered. He introduced a plan to put millions of dollars into mental health, particularly for young kids. And the Republicans in the chamber did not clap. If you can't be it for kids, then what the heck can you be for? Jeepers, criminy.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Seems everywhere in the state, housing has just gotten so expensive. Our current president ran on promises to help the middle class, and I'd like to know what he's going to do about the housing shortages. I went through the executive orders. I read through the speech transcript a couple of times. Nothing he really said or did in the first couple days has anything to do with helping the middle class.
The Maggie Dawn Show, weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, friend and colleague Maggie Dawn joining us at 10:30.
Hey, this is John Legend, and you're listening to Nite with Pete Schwaba.
Dude! Hey. How's it going, Phil?
It's going really well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you. Good to be back in the Midwest.
So, guys, I know I don't need to introduce this guy because you already know him, but this is Dan Fogelman.
Wow. All right, that's enough. Well, maybe a little more. Come on. Let me hear you.
You rascal, you rascal. Right. So, Dan Fogelman, the founding pastor of Bright Horizons St. Louis, Bright Horizons Milwaukee, a close personal friend and mentor of mine. And even though Dan is in the middle of his own church plant in Phoenix, he agreed to come out here and give us the old kick in the pants. So, no further ado, Dan Fogelman.
Thanks, Eli. Thank you. Wow. I don't deserve all this applause, but I'll take it. I'm excited. I founded the Milwaukee chapter of Bright Horizons with 8 families in a living room just like this. 8 families. There are over 2,000 people now in Bright Horizons, Milwaukee. 2,000 people. You're going to need a bigger living room.
Sure am.
But that's a good problem to have, right?
I think so, yeah.
All right, that was yours truly as Dan Fogelman, the founder of a mega church. It was fun to play that role in your film, Speaking in Tongues, a feature film you made several years ago.
Yeah,
that was so
Pete,
fun.
Pete, you were super nice. You were in my first film, my first feature film.
First feature film.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon if you want to check it out.
Speaking in Tongues, a great story. And you are, I will say, and this is not geared towards myself, but you find actors and you make regular people that you like the look of, it seems like, or their demeanor somehow. You almost teach them how to act during the film. That's an incredible talent.
Well, thanks. Well, I guess I do think a lot of people can act, and they don't necessarily know it yet. Even you're an actor.
I'll get there. Don't worry.
You were an actor. I cast you. I was lucky to have you.
That was really fun. I remember that day was about 100 degrees in Chicago. We shot on the north side.
Yes.
And you put me up in some high-rise downtown that your aunt owned.
Yeah.
And I had to wait. She took a long time in the shower, but it was great. No, I had the place to myself, and you guys would come in late at night, but for the most part, it was a really fun experience.
I remember that whole week. It was like 90 or 100 every day. We were in this old house in Old Town Chicago, and it was just like sweat. Yeah.
You guys are working hard. So you went to film school, though, and that helped. You kind of bring all your film school buddies in, and you guys all kind of help each other. I find that really a cool networking tactic.
Yeah. I think we talked once before about like, is film school for everyone? And I don't know, but at least for me, besides like getting to like meet a lot of really cool filmmakers or learn from them, just that camaraderie you get with the people you come out of it with was also really important. Yeah,
I'm sure it was invaluable. So you're on a new project. This is so great. You're doing a movie for each month of the year, like a movie miniseries, sort of, if you will. The new one is February. You did January. Now you're doing February. You're doing a tour around the state, and you're showing it at the Door County Film Festival. Where can people see it in the next few days? You mentioned a couple cities.
Yeah, well, we have a little January screening tomorrow. A little sneak preview. Tomorrow, January 28th at Prairie du Chien at the Prairie Cinema. And that's kind of in association with later this week is the 75th annual ice fishery. So our movie's about ice fishing. So a little celebration of the ice fishery coming up. Yeah, the tip up. And we
got one.
The big tour around Wisconsin begins on Saturday with Eau Claire.
It's interesting. I was telling you, Conrad, remember that legislation last week that conception begins at erection? I don't even think this is legal in the South. If we just did that, I don't think you can ice fish because it promotes I'm just saying, I don't,
No comment. No comment.
So, all right. So tell us more. You've got some fun facts there about the month of February.
Well, that's the thing. Our movie is about a lot of things, and we're trying to have fun with the screening tour. I'm going to every location. Sometimes the main actor's joining me.
You do a Q&A after?
We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to talk about a lot of things. The movie's about a lot of things. It's about ice fishing. It's about Latinos in Wisconsin. Also, it's just about the month of February. So I brought some
Lay it on me, Stretch.
Some fun facts
All right.
about February. Here's some other names for February in the past. Solmanath, which means mud month.
I don't like that.
That sounds right?
I guess.
Feverel, which is an English name. Sprout kale. That's kind of a fun name for February. Shortest month of the year. We all know that. It's also Black History Month. It's a month where some people have a very rare birthday, February 29th.
29th, leap year, sure.
Which is shared by both Gioacchino Rossini, the Italian composer, and Ja Rule.
Oh, is that right?
They're both born on February 29th.
That's very interesting.
So,
I'm not familiar with either one of their works, but I got to check that out.
Also, the Romans, the name February comes from Febra, which it was a Roman month.
Okay.
And it was a time of purification.
Oh,
so
how did they do that, the Romans?
I don't know.
They needed it sounds like.
Yeah, but it's an
their
interesting
behavior.
thing to think about as this month comes on us.
I like
time
it.
of purification.
It's just a nice thing to learn. Conrad, are you writing that down too?
Oh, yeah.
All right, you can't forget this stuff, buddy. All right, so we have a quiz. You also brought a quiz with you.
Right. Well, we're going all around Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I thought I'd tour you, Pete, or quiz you, Pete, about
You want the tour? I'll give you the tour. It's
I'll
pretty
quiz
basic.
you.
Okay.
I'll quiz you about your knowledge of some of the cities we're stopping in. We'll see how we see how you do.
Now, if you guys want to text in and try to play along, that's fine. But this is Pete centric. I'm going to see how I do here.
Yeah, and no shame if you get some wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no Googling either, unless it's Conrad who wants to send me the answers while I'm in the middle of the quiz. Okay.
All right. Okay, we're going to 30 cities next month. Which of these following towns is known as the muskie capital of the world? A, Shawano. B, Ashland. C, Hayward.
C, Hayward.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding.
Where's my bell? Okay. We'll do double bells. All right.
Okay. Which of these Wisconsin towns is known as the birthplace of legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright? A, Alma. B, Richland Center. Or C, Sparta?
I want to say Sparta, but I think that's where the House of the Rock is, so maybe he wasn't born there. I'm going to go against my instincts, which I've done my whole life, unfortunately, and say Alma.
Nope. Richland Center. Do we have a buzzer
wah,
sound?
Wah, wah. All right. How wrong? Oh, that's like Schwaba wrong. My instincts say this. I'm going to go with this. No, it's the third one. Like, that's terrible instincts. All right, go ahead.
Okay, which city on our tour, well, you don't need to know all of them, but what city is the home in Wisconsin to the busiest McDonald's in the state?
Oh, my God. Probably something like right in the middle where the interstates come together. Like,
oh, yeah.
Am I onto something?
You're onto something.
Wisconsin Dells?
Close. It's my hometown.
Toma.
I'm
going to give myself that
the
one.
only reason I know that. Okay. Okay. 2 truths and a lie about Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Okay.
Two truths and a lie. Okay.
Once known as Sawdust City, it's also home to Justin Vernon of Bon Iver. That's fact 1.
Okay.
A woman known as the Cave Lady used to live with her family in a cave along the Eau Claire River and submit poems to the Leader Telegram and was actually pretty popular. That's number 2.
I took her to prom. You try pinning a boutonniere on in a cave. It's really tough. Okay.
Number 3, Eau Claire is home to the nation's oldest operating farmers market established in the early 1800s.
Really?
Well, which one's...
Oh, so
one
two
of
are
those,
true.
2 are true, one's a lie.
Can you read the cave one again?
A woman known as the Cave Lady used to live with her family in a cave along the Eau Claire River and submit poems to the newspaper and was really popular.
All right, and then the third one was...
That is the home to the nation's oldest farmers
I'm
market.
going to say that's the false.
That is true. Yes, I mean,
you mean
you're
I'm
correct.
right?
You're correct. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Because I know Sawdust City. There was a movie called Sawdust City,
Yeah.
and the filmmakers were from there. And that cave one is too weird.
And everybody knows Bon Iver is from Eau Claire. Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's a new book out. That's you can buy it in Eau Claire. It's called The Cave Lady by Jane Glens. It's really interesting because this is like 100 years ago. She ended up getting arrested and having a court trial for living in the cave.
That's illegal.
I guess
you can't do anything
100
anymore.
years ago.
Give me a break.
Okay, which of these towns hosts the Lumberjack World Championship celebrating logging history and competition? Do you know already? A. Shawano, B. Ashland, C. Hayward.
I'm going to say Ashland.
Hayward.
Hayward, really?
Hayward, yeah. I threw in 2 Haywards.
Yeah, that's where you threw me off there. I probably wouldn't have. That's impressive.
Okay, but with those same 3, which town is known for Shawano Lake, a popular fishing and recreational spot?
You must think I am so remedial.
A. Shawano, B. Ashland, C. Hayward.
Shawano?
Shawano. All right, I got a couple ice fishing questions now, which I know you know all about.
I was so in my head on that last one. I knew it was Shawano Lake because I have friends, but I'm like, was he trying to? Is there some way? Okay.
Okay, what piece of ice fishing equipment is essential for drilling the hole in ice fishing? A, the tackle box. B, an auger. C, a depth finder. Or D, a tip up.
Listen, I'm a city guy. I'm not an outdoorsy guy. I know it's an auger.
It's an auger. Yeah.
How am I doing?
You're doing good. I think
Okay.
you're doing good. I'm not keeping track. Hope maybe somebody at home's keeping track. How old is ice fishing? A, 300 years old. B, 700. Or C, 2,000 years old? God. What's your gut say?
Con, I'm going to let you in on this one. What do you got a guess?
I'm just gonna go it's two. You said 2000.
Yeah.
2000.
Did people live? I mean, Native Americans are probably here 2,000. Yeah, 2,000.
2,000 years ago.
Well done, Conrad.
Native Americans are credited with inventing ice fishing, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
All
so,
right.
and of them, in what is now Wisconsin, which Native American tribe is commonly credited with the earliest known method of ice fishing? A, Menominee, B, Ojibwe or Chippewa, or C, Ho-Chunk?
Ojibwa.
Yeah. You're doing great. He's doing great.
Listen, I do crossword puzzles, buddy. I know what I'm.
Okay, almost done. Got a few more. The U.S. is going to host 2 ice fishing world championships this year, one in Michigan and one in Wisconsin. What town in Wisconsin?
Did anybody watching on the stream see what Nathan just did? That thing he just did meant he had to go to the bathroom. He wasn't giving me the answer. I'll say Green Bay.
Green Bay. In October, they're going to have the Street Fishing World Championship.
Oh, so it's not ice fishing?
No, it is ice fishing.
But in October.
Yeah, in October.
That's
I
my
don't know.
kind of ice
It
fishing.
was just in the Green Bay Gazette.
All right.
Like 2 days ago.
Oh, that's so cool. We'll have to do something with that, Conrad, for the show. When is
Okay.
that? That's this coming October?
Yeah.
Okay.
2025. 2 more.
All right.
What city on our tour is the only city in America to have voted for 3 socialist mayors?
Well, I haven't seen the full list of your tour.
This is a quote from Wayne's World, if you've seen Wayne's World.
I'm going to say Milwaukee.
Yes, that's the scene.
That's the way Alice
yeah,
Cooper said it.
Yeah. It's that scene.
All right.
Finally, what screening of February next month will Pete Schwaba be present for?
Oh, man. Let me think about this. Well, just because you set it up ahead of time, I'll say Marinette, February 22nd, the Mariner Theater, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Get there early. It's a great little spot. It's going to be a fun day.
I didn't bring you a prize. I feel like I should give you the tip up.
You know what?
You should win the tip up.
I think I sense a muskie is close. Boom. Do people catch muskies ice fishing?
I'm not the right person to ask about.
They're kind of an aggressive fish. And honest to God, like I did go skinny dipping late at night once.
In ice? In ice water?
God, no.
Okay.
In
People
a
do
regular
that.
lake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I jumped in and I'm like, what if that'd be me. I'd be that guy. Did you hear he just went skinny dipping and this muskie came up and bit him right in the beep? Like, I didn't want to be that guy. So I was literally in the lake 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, that's good. Let's get out.
I'm like following all these like Facebook pages now for ice fishing for the film. People catch monsters. Like, I don't know how they drill a hole big enough, but
that is insane.
Yeah.
So, all right, the reason we did that quiz, Nathan is touring around Wisconsin. Nathan Deming is my guest. He's in studio, writer-director, very talented writer-director, and he is showing his film February, the second installment of a 12-month film project that you're going to do one for every month.
All about Wisconsin.
Starting a Wisconsin tour. And you have a website again for the...
Yes, the film's website is februaryfilm.com. And if they want to find out where we're going on the tour, februaryfilm.com/screenings. But check it out. We're probably going near you because we're hitting up everywhere.
It's a great story. I've already seen the film. Where did I see it? Last year at the Wisconsin Film Festival.
Yep, we premiered at Wisconsin last year. Yep.
Yeah, that was a fun premiere and a really nice film. So, so you can stick around, help us close this down.
Totally,
right?
let's do it.
All right, we'll find us some more quiz things.
I'll look some more, yeah.
You got any more quizzes I can ace? Hey, you're grading on a curve. We can do it. All right, we got a text from Steady Eddie coming up, and one from Bridget, too. I'll read those, and we'll talk with Nathan Deming, the writer-director, who's here in the studio for a few more minutes. And, Conrad, what am I forgetting?
I don't think you're forgetting anything.
Nothing, right?
No.
I forget my lunch? No. All right. Conrad's here, too, folks. It's an actual party. It's 3 dudes hanging out in downtown Green Bay. What could be better? Great to have you with us here on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
From Ashwaubenon to Alloway, this is 97.9 WGBW.
Carmelo Anthony for the Bail Project.
Bad news, you've been arrested. Good news, you're innocent until proven guilty. If you can pay your bail, good news, you go home and wait your trial. If you can't, sorry, you go to jail to wait. But sure, you still presumed innocent. But since you can't afford bail, you've lost your freedom. That's not right. And that's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The Todd Alba Show.
The argument from my former party has been, it's not the guns, it's mental health. Well, no worries, folks. Governor Evers has got you covered. He introduced a plan to put millions of dollars into mental health, particularly for young kids. And the Republicans in the chamber did not clap. If you can't be it for kids, then what the heck can you be for? Jeepers, criminy.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Mino and the Mayor.
Landon Jones, his commercial is a semifinalist for Doritos and could air during the Super Bowl.
I was sitting on the couch, I was eating some Doritos, I just had one in my hand, I was looking at it. Well, what if my hand got bigger? And then I was like, okay, well, what would happen if I ate it? Okay, the head would get bigger. And then, I kind of went down the rabbit hole.
I wonder if it would work there.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday morning 6 till 9 on WGBW and WISS and the Civic Media app.
It's easy to listen to your favorite local radio station anytime. Download the Civic Media app from the Apple or Google Play Store, then listen live or whenever you want from anywhere for free.
That first time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody.
Through all of fatherhood's first, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more.
Be some sweet sounds coming down on the night shift. I bet you're singing proud.
Checking in, as he so often does, is Steady Eddie from the 608. He says, Pete, speaking of crap, how you doing? Oh, those are fighting words. He says, just kidding, Pete. We mentioned that the toilet was invented by John Crapper. He's making reference to that. He says, you and Conrad are night lighting it up. Without a doubt, it's your best show of the week so far. Thank you, Steady Eddie. In my high school, they displayed photos and names of all the graduating classes. In the first class from about 1894 was a beautiful young woman with the last name of Crap. Her misguided, out to lunch, twisted, or maybe all the above parents gave her the first name of Lotta. Her name was Lotta Crap. What were her parents thinking? To my mind, they were a couple of real Herkle-jerkles. Again, Steady Eddie, it's Herkle-dirkles. I know what he's doing, though. He says, I don't think the NFL is rigged, but Conrad is right. Josh Allen made the first down. Bad call. But luckily, I will now get the chance to see more of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift on my TV. Yippee in all caps. Night, night, night light. Steady, indignant Eddie. Very well done, Eddie, as always. Bridget from the 818 says, I hope so. I love seeing Taylor at the games, especially the Super Bowl. That's what I love about our listening audience. We got guys like Steady Eddie, who are a little more, sardonic, if you will. And then Bridget, who wants to see Taylor Swift.
I was wondering, I
have no problem with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I watched the game yesterday. They only cut to her once. Is that like a new thing?
I would
not show her.
No, people were in an outrage last year because they showed her a ton, and she was on. It was like 42 seconds for the whole broadcast. She was on the screen, and people were losing their minds.
I was one of the people tuning in because of the
Taylor
whole
Swift?
spectacle. I was just like, this is so funny. She's up there.
I don't know much about this football, but I got to see what all the fuss is here. Nathan Deming is here. We're helping me close out the show. Before you get out of here, I know you're very passionate about film incentives, as am I. I think they would be great for our state. I've said before, though, I think we need to build a culture in Wisconsin and not just pass legislation, but start when kids are young, get them into theater, get them into movie making, music, whatever it is, and brand ourselves a more cultural state. We already are, I think, to some degree, but I think to make the incentives stick, that has to be part of our fabric here. What is your take on the film incentives?
I believe really strongly that Wisconsin's a very cinematic state, and we have a lot
Agreed.
of talent here. But the problem is, unlike other art forms, film is very expensive, and it comes with machinery, like huge groups that have to. That's just how it is. So I'm working on this tour. One reason I'm for the tour, besides getting to show my film around Wisconsin, I'm working with this group called Action Wisconsin, which people can check out online. They're a nonprofit, bipartisan group made up of filmmakers, entrepreneurs, local business owners, trying to lobby the Wisconsin government to bring back state tax incentives. And if people don't know what those are, states around the country now and countries around the world offer Hollywood incentives to film there, and it's a little more complicated than that, but basically it means they'll pay part of the budget to go there, which sounds like Hollywood taking advantage of you, but it's actually really smart. It's how you get production there, and it brings tons of jobs, and you never know what movie's going to pop off, and then just movies last a long time. People still talk about Fargo. Would you go to Fargo for any other reason? No offense, Fargo.
Other than to do stand-up comedy, which is why I went there in the 90s. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But you know it now because of the Coen Brothers movie,
Absolutely.
and these places resonate. And I think our state can be that too. So Action Wisconsin, just trying to bring awareness to this issue, trying to contact legislators and say, let's bring back the state tax credits, because we used to have it, but now we're one of 13 states that don't.
We don't have a film office either. I know.
I don't know what's happening. Minnesota has them.
I know.
We're losing jobs.
Minnesota has a very aggressive tax incentive program. You can utilize more than one tax incentives there. So Michigan had them, but pulled them because they needed roads. I don't think people really understand but it is a nice postcard for the state, sort of, too, like you mentioned. So that's a good thing, too. Tell us about, speaking of incentives, we have a couple more minutes left. What are the advantages of filming here to L.A.? I mean, it depends on your story. Sometimes in a script, L.A. is part of the script almost, the backdrop. And I guess you could argue the same would be said for Wisconsin. But compare if you would. You've filmed in both places, the advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, when you filmed the feature here too, I think we probably both experienced the same thing, which is that LA is great, right? It's the center of the industry, but there's a lot of paperwork and money, a lot of things that can slow down your production. Compared to Wisconsin, which there's kind of also this thing in the air when you're shooting something here, which is people who stop and see you shooting, they're actually interested. Like in LA, you can throw a rock and hit a film production, just shooting down your street.
Or a director.
Or a director. And there's this attitude about it, they're blocking my car from getting out. But in Wisconsin, they're like, oh, you need to shoot in a barn? Oh, come on.
My cousin's got one.
Yeah, please. There's kind of this camaraderie there that's really fun. And we shot in a hotel that they just let us shoot there. And in LA, that would have been probably thousands of dollars.
And the great thing about locations, when you shoot in Wisconsin and someone gives you a location, they'll tell you the history of that location. I got so drunk right over there, lost my virginity over there. It's so much fun. And we did that too. When you mentioned I made a feature here, The Godfather of Green Bay, the producer, Brian Edding, who's awesome, he said, we have to shoot this in LA because it's easier. We have crews here. Then it was Chicago. And I'm like, the movie is set in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It has to be. You can't fake authenticity in a small indie film. So I talked him into it. He was great. It worked out. But it is hard to get crews, or you pay more for them. But I think what you offset, you get a lot of benefits here.
Yeah, I was just on Charlie Barron's podcast, and he talked about The Great Outdoors.
Yeah.
Wisconsin movie. Clearly has the mountains of Lake Tahoe in the background or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Nathan, thank you so much, buddy. Good luck in Door County, and keep us posted on the tour, and maybe we'll have you back on before we do the Marinette thing. That'll be fun to talk about again. All right, Nathan
Thanks
Deming
so
joining me in the studio. Thank you also to Chip Chinnery from Chip's Money Tips. Check out Chip's website. Great stuff. Thank you for all your texts and calls, as usual. And on behalf of the lovable producer, Conrad, good night, Wisconsin.
I'll take you to your best friend's house, Mama.